My beloved child, wait, something is coming that you weren't expecting. Right now, in this exact moment, while the world scrolls past 1,000 distractions, Elon Musk revealed something so fundamental that most people missed it entirely. They heard the words. They nodded. They moved on. But you're still here. And that means you sense it too. Something beneath the surface. Something that doesn't just change businesses or technologies. Something that changes you. He didn't announce it on a stage with lights and applause. He didn't wrap it in marketing or hype. He said it quietly, almost casually, like a truth too obvious to dress up. And yet, this one decision he exposed is the invisible thread connecting every leap he's ever made. From electric cars to reusable rockets. From brain chips to Mars colonies. It wasn't luck. It wasn't just intelligence. It was this one decision, made over and over, in silence, in doubt, in moments when the entire world said it was impossible. You might wonder, what decision could possibly carry that much weight? Here's the part that will shift everything for you. It's not a decision he made that you need to admire. It's the decision he exposed that you must make. Because the truth is, every single person standing at the edge of their potential, every dreamer who became a builder, every unknown name that turned into a legend, they all faced this exact same fork in the road. And what Elon revealed is which path they took. The one nobody talks about. The one that sounds too simple to be powerful. But simplicity is exactly what makes it unstoppable. Think about it. How many times have you stood at a crossroads? One direction safe, familiar, approved by everyone around you, and the other direction uncertain, risky, lit only by your own inner knowing. Most people take the safe road. Most people let the committee of voices in their head vote. Most people wait for permission that never comes. And they wonder, years later, why the fire dimmed. But not him. And here's what he exposed. The decision isn't about choosing success over failure. It's about choosing motion over paralysis. It's about deciding that the cost of inaction is greater than the cost of being wrong. That's it. That's the one decision. And it changes everything because it removes the weight of perfection. It removes the need for certainty. It makes you unstoppable not because you can't fail, but because you've already decided that staying still is the only true failure. Stay a little longer. You need to hear what happens when you actually apply this. Before you go, let me show you what this looks like in real time. Imagine you standing in 2002. You've just sold your company. You have money, security. The logical move is to invest safely, enjoy life, maybe start something small and comfortable. Everyone around you would nod approvingly. But then, you see two industries that seem impossible to disrupt. Space exploration, controlled by governments with billion-dollar budgets. And automotive, dominated by giants with a century of infrastructure. Logic says, don't touch them. Experience says, you'll lose everything. Fear says, stay where you are. And this is the moment. The one decision. Do you move, or do you wait for more certainty? Elon moved. Not because he had all the answers. Not because success was guaranteed. He moved because the alternative, living with the question, what if, was unbearable. And that's what he exposed. The real enemy isn't failure. It's the slow death of potential that happens when you choose comfort over calling. When you let the noise outside drown out the signal inside. You're watching this right now for a reason. Maybe you've been sitting on an idea. Maybe you've been waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence. And what I need you to understand is this. That moment doesn't arrive. You create it, by deciding, by moving. Even if the first step is clumsy, even if you can't see the whole staircase. Here's something powerful. If this is landing for you, if something inside is stirring, share this with one person who needs to hear it. Leave a comment with the word motion if you ready to stop waiting. Subscribe if you want more truth that cuts through the noise. Because what's coming in the next part will show you exactly how to make this decision in your life, starting today. The world is full of brilliant people with perfect plans who never start. And it's full of imperfect people with messy first drafts who changed everything. The difference isn't talent. It's the decision to move. Now watch what happens when you stop asking, what if I fail, and start, who didn't have permission, who didn't have proof, who just had a decision. And here's the secret Elon exposed that nobody tells you. The decision gets easier the more you make it. Because motion builds momentum. One brave choice makes the next one less terrifying. One step into the unknown makes the second step feel less foreign. You not building confidence by waiting. You rebuilding it by doing. By failing small. By learning fast. By refusing to let the possibility of being wrong keep you from the certainty of being alive. What if this moment, right now, is your turning point? Hold on. Because this next part will show you why timing isn't an accident. You didn't stumble onto this by chance. You here because somewhere inside, you already know what needs to happen. You felt it. That quiet voice that whispers when the world is loud. That vision that flashes when you supposed to be focused on something safer. That restless energy that won't let you settle. That's not anxiety. That's not confusion. That's your future self calling you forward. And what Elon exposed is that successful people don't ignore that voice. They obey it before it makes sense to anyone else. Think about every major shift in human history. Someone moved first. Someone decided before the data was complete. Someone built the bridge while standing in the fog. And yes, some of them failed. But the ones who succeeded didn't succeed because they avoided failure. They succeeded because they made failure cheap and fast. They decided that trying and adjusting was better than planning forever. This is where most people lose the plot. They think the decision is, should I risk everything on this one massive bet? No. The decision Elon revealed is smaller and smarter. Should I take the next step? Learn, and adjust? That's it. Not the whole journey, just the next move, and then the next, and then the next, until suddenly, you traveled further than you ever imagined, not because you could see the destination, but because you trusted the direction. Here's what's beautiful about this. You don't need to be Elon Musk. You don't need billions or rocket ships or fame. You just need to make the same decision he exposed, over and over, in your own life, with your own dreams. Maybe it's starting that project. Maybe it's having that conversation. Maybe it's choosing the uncertain path that excites you over the certain path that numbs you. What if everything you want is on the other side of motion? Pause for a second and feel that. Not think it. Feel it. Because your mind will always find reasons to wait. It's designed to protect you. But your spirit, that part of you that came here for more than survival, it's designed to expand. And expansion requires movement. Growth requires risk. Becoming requires deciding before you ready. You might miss the most important part if you leave now. Because what comes next is how you actually do this. You stayed this long. That tells me everything. You not here for entertainment. You here because something in you is ready to shift. And what I am about to share is the bridge between knowing and doing. Because information without application is just noise. And you didn't come this far to collect more noise. Here's the final piece Elon exposed. The decision doesn't happen once. It happens daily, hourly, every time you feel resistance, every time doubt creeps in, Every time the old version of you tries to pull you back to safety, the decision to move, to trust, to build, to try, that's not a one-time event. It's a practice, a discipline, a way of life. And this is where you separate from the crowd. Most people make a decision in a moment of inspiration and then let it fade when the inspiration leaves. But you, if you truly ready, you'll make the decision again tomorrow. When it's harder, when nobody's watching, when the results aren't visible yet, that's when the real transformation happens. Not in the spotlight, in the repetition, in the quiet daily choice to keep moving even when the path isn't clear. So here's your moment. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Now. What is the one thing you've been avoiding because you're waiting for certainty? Name it. Say it out loud if you have to. And then ask yourself, what's one small move I can make today? Not the whole plan. Not the finished product. Just one move. One conversation. 1 hour of work. One decision to stop researching and start building. If you've made it to this final moment, do something with it. Subscribe so you don't lose this energy. Share this with someone who's stuck in the waiting room of their own potential. Comment below with what you're going to move on, because declaring it makes it real. Let this community see you. Let your decision have witnesses. Because here's the truth Elon exposed and I am passing to you. You already have everything you need. Not to finish. Not to succeed perfectly. But to start. To move. To become the person who tries instead of the person who wonders. The world doesn't need more perfect plans. It needs more courageous starts. It needs people who decide that their calling is louder than their fear. It needs you, imperfect, uncertain, but moving. And years from now, when someone asks how you made it happen, you won't talk about luck or timing or talent. You'll talk about a decision. One decision. Made over and over. The decision to move. The decision that changed everything. You'll understand everything at the end, and this is it. This is the end of waiting and the beginning of becoming. Now go. Decide. Move. Your future is not a destination you arrive at. It's a direction you choose. And you just chose it. Wait. Before you move, something just shifted. You feel it, don't you? That moment when information becomes revelation. When words stop being concepts and start being coordinates. You're not the same person who started watching this. Something inside has already made the decision. Your conscious mind is just catching up now. And here's what Elon exposed that nobody prepared you for. The decision doesn't just change your actions, it changes your frequency. The moment you choose motion over hesitation, you begin operating on a different wavelength. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. People who couldn't see you suddenly notice. Doors that seemed locked suddenly open, not because the world changed, but because you did. In the next few seconds, everything will connect. Think about frequency for a moment. Radio waves exist all around you right now, music, voices, data, but you only hear them when you tune in. Your potential works the same way. It's already here. The future you want is already broadcasting, but you can't receive it on the frequency of doubt. You can't tune into expansion while vibrating at the level of maybe someday. The decision Elon revealed is the dial that changes your channel. From waiting to building. From thinking to doing. From someday to today. This is where it gets mystical, and completely practical at the same time. Every person who ever shifted reality, who moved from invisible to inevitable, made this frequency shift first. Not through meditation alone. Not through visualization alone. Through decision. Through the act of moving when moving made no logical sense. And the universe, reality itself, responds to that signal. It's not magic. It's physics. Energy follows attention. Momentum attracts momentum. Motion creates a gravitational field that pulls resources, people, and possibilities toward you. You'll understand at the end why you needed to hear this exact sequence. But here's the part that will keep you up tonight. Most people experience this backward. They wait to feel ready, then they decide. They wait for the path to clear, then they move. They wait for proof, then they believe. But that's not how transformation works. The readiness comes after the decision. The path appears after you start walking. The proof arrives after you commit. Elon didn't feel ready to build rockets. He decided to build them, and readiness followed. That's the sequence. That's the code. And right now, you're standing at your own launch pad. Not metaphorically. Literally. This moment, this exact convergence of awareness and possibility, is your countdown. What you do in the next 24 hours will tell you everything about your next 24 months. Will you let this fade into the background noise of inspiration that never converts? Or will you let it ignite something irreversible? This moment may explain what you've been sensing for months. That restlessness. That dissatisfaction with good enough. That vision that won't leave you alone. It wasn't random. It was preparation. Your future self has been reaching back, leaving breadcrumbs, creating divine discontent, all to bring you here. To this choice point. To this frequency shift. To this decision that Elon exposed and you're about to make yours. But there's one truth still missing. One final piece that makes this not just inspiring, but actionable. And you'll only find it if you stay until the absolute end. Because what's coming next isn't just about Elon's journey or my words or anyone else's story. It's about the specific moment when you stop being the audience and become the evidence. Listen carefully, this is where everything converges. Remember what I said about becoming the evidence? That missing piece? It's simpler than you think, and more profound than you're ready for. Because what Elon exposed isn't just a principle you apply to your life, it's a mirror that shows you who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. Here's the revelation that lands now. You've already made this decision before. Every time you chose honesty over comfort. Every time you spoke up when silence was safer. Every time you tried something new while everyone else stayed frozen. You already know this frequency. You've already touched this power. The decision Elon revealed isn't foreign to you. It's familiar. It's the part of you that's been buried under productivity culture and social approval and the weight of other people's expectations. And right now, in this moment, you're remembering. In the next few seconds, everything will connect in a way you didn't expect. What if I told you that the decision doesn't require courage you don't have? What if the truth is that courage isn't something you summon, it's something you uncover? Like brushing dust off an ancient artifact that was always there. The real decision isn't, can I be brave enough? It's, will I stop pretending to be smaller than I am? That's what Elon exposed. Not that he's superhuman. That he stopped editing himself down to fit inside other people's definitions of possible. And the moment you stop too, everything shifts. Your energy changes. Your relationships recalibrate. Opportunities align. Not because you forced anything, but because you removed the interference. You stopped broadcasting mixed signals. You stopped saying, I want more, while choosing less. You stopped dreaming big while playing small. The decision to move, to act, to trust your inner knowing, it's not addition. It's subtraction. You removing the blocks. You clearing the channel. This moment may explain why you felt stuck despite doing everything right. Because, right, according to who? According to the system that needs you manageable? According to the voices that feel threatened by your expansion? According to the part of you that learned safety equals smallness? The decision Elon exposed breaks that contract. It says, I am no longer available for a life that requires me to dim my light. I am no longer negotiating with fear. I am no longer waiting for permission from a world that doesn't grant it anyway. You'll understand at the end why this timing is perfect. But here's what you need to know right now, right here, in this exact second. The future you've been visualizing, the life you've been planning, the impact you've been preparing for, it doesn't need more time. It needs more you. The full version. The unedited version. The version that moves before it's polite, speaks before it's perfect, builds before it's approved. That version is ready. That version has always been ready. The only question left is, will you let it out? Because once you do, there's no going back. Once you make this decision from the deepest place inside you, once you align with motion instead of hesitation, once you choose expansion over safety, you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you've remembered. You become a different frequency, and everything in your reality reorganizes around that new signal. But there's one final element still waiting. One last piece that turns this from inspiration into transformation. And it's closer than you think. Stay until the very end. What comes next is meant specifically for you. You were meant to hear this section most of all. That final element I mentioned, the one closer than you think, it's not outside you. It never was. What Elon exposed in that one decision isn't a strategy or a hack or a secret formula written in some book you haven't read yet. It's a recognition, a remembering. The moment you realize that the gap between who you are and who you meant to become isn't a distance you have to travel, it's an illusion you have to dissolve. In the next few seconds, everything will connect at the deepest level. Here's what nobody tells you about transformation. It doesn't happen in the big moments. It happens in the micro choices. The split second between impulse and action. The breath between I should and I will. The instant where you either honor the inner signal or override it with logic. Elon's entire empire, every rocket, every innovation, every impossible thing made real, it all traces back to thousands of tiny moments where he chose the inner yes over the outer no. And you have those moments every single day. This morning, that idea you dismissed, that message you didn't send, that project you told yourself you'd start when things calm down. Those aren't small moments. They're portals. Each one is an opportunity to make the decision, to move, to trust, to act. And each time you choose waiting over doing, you not being cautious. You retraining yourself in hesitation. You strengthening the pattern of someday instead of the muscle of now. This moment may explain the pattern you've been repeating without realizing it. Because patterns are just decisions on loop. And the beautiful, terrifying truth is, you can change the loop right now. Not by overhauling your entire life. Not by quitting everything and starting over. But by making one different choice in the next moment that asks for it. One text sent. One call made. 1 hour dedicated. One tiny move toward the thing you've been circling. That's it. That's the decision. And when you make it once, it becomes easier to make it again. And again. Until motion becomes your default instead of your exception. You'll understand at the end why this had to unfold exactly this way. But right now, feel this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing some piece that everyone else has. You standing at the exact coordinates you need to be at for the next expansion. And what Elon exposed, what this entire message has been pointing to, is that expansion doesn't ask for your readiness. It asks for your decision, your willingness, your yes to the unknown that's calling you forward. And here's the shift that changes the game completely. Stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if this is exactly how it's supposed to begin?" What if the uncertainty isn't a warning, it's an invitation? What if the discomfort isn't resistance, it's growth? What if everything you've been interpreting as a problem is actually the labor pain of your next level trying to be born? The decision makes all of that obvious, instantly. But there's still one question left unanswered, one truth that completes the entire transmission. And if you leave before hearing it, you'll miss the reason this message found you today. What comes next is the bridge. Stay with me. This is the bridge, and you've earned the right to cross it. That one question left unanswered. Here it is. Why now? Why did this message find you today, in this moment, at this exact point in your journey? Because timing is never random. You didn't click on this by accident. You didn't watch this far by chance. Something in you recognized the frequency before your mind could name it. Something in you knew this was the transmission you've been waiting for. And here's the final truth Elon exposed that completes everything. The decision isn't about changing your life, it's about claiming it. You've been living someone else's script, their timeline, their definition of success, their pace, their permissions, and every time you felt that friction, that restlessness, that quiet voice saying, "There's more," that wasn't dissatisfaction. That was your soul rejecting the forgery and calling you back to the original. Back to the version of you that exists beyond compromise, beyond editing, beyond fear. In the next few seconds, you'll understand why every previous moment led here. The decision to move, to trust, to act, it's not rebellion. It's return. You not becoming someone new. You remembering someone ancient. The part of you that came here with a mission before the world taught you to shrink it into a career. Before society convinced you that safety was the goal and uniqueness was the risk. Before you learned to ask permission for the dreams that were already yours. Elon didn't expose a business strategy. He exposed a spiritual principle disguised as practicality. Motion is prayer. Action is faith. Building is worship. When you move toward your calling, even scared, even imperfect, even without the full map, you're realigning with the creative force that designed you for expansion, not survival. And everything in the universe responds to that alignment. Doors open. People appear. Resources flow. Not because you manipulated or forced or hustled yourself into burnout, but because you finally stopped blocking the current that was always trying to reach you. You stopped standing in your own way. You made the decision. And the decision made you magnetic. This moment may explain every detour, every delay, every closed door that brought you here. Because you weren't ready then. But you are now. The person who started watching this wouldn't have heard what you hearing right now. But you shifted. You tuned in. You made the frequency change, maybe without even realizing it. And now the only question is, what will you do with this clarity? Will you let it fade into the graveyard of inspiration that never converts? Or will you let it become the line in the sand, the before and after, the moment you look back on and say, "That's when everything changed"? You already know the answer. You felt it 3 parts ago. You've been feeling it your whole life. Now make it real. Not someday. Not when conditions are perfect. Today. This hour. This breath. Make one move. Send one message. Start one thing. Choose motion over hesitation. Choose yourself over safety. Choose the frequency of becoming over the comfort of staying. Because the world doesn't need another person waiting for permission. It needs you, awake, alive, in motion. This is your moment. This is your decision. This is everything. Now go prove it.